tired, tired, tired. Good stuff. Neighbor that was in front of me, he is taking off. All right, not really sure what I'm gonna do about this. The way station in Texas, the first one, there's two of them there. Sinkholes, wow. Anyhow, that way station is opening and closing. Alright, well, I am driving, so whoever just popped in, I can't quite see, but good morning. The way this works, has the name of whoever channel just popped by, or one of y'all, 10 of y'all.
Towards Lake Charles for 47 miles.
Lake Charles, Louisiana. I'm gonna go through Lake Charles on my way to the Texas line. Anyway, the print, the font for the person's name of the channel real fine and small. The whatever it is they have to say, like in this case below, is a little bit bigger, not much, but it's at least in bold type. I loaded yesterday in Horn Lake, Mississippi, which is basically Memphis, Tennessee, and picking up. It was kind of calm when I pulled over. I was getting a little drowsy. Anyhow, the load I picked up Horn Lake, Mississippi is a load of dock levelers. What we just like to call dots. And those delivered this morning in Baytown, Texas. I need to be there at 8 a.m. I was wanting to be there by 6 a.m. to avoid rush hour in places like Beaumont, but that's not going to happen. And I started getting a little drowsy, so I pulled over. There's no load of freight that's so hot that it's worth risking your life or the lives of others around you just to try to get that load delivered. And I don't mean to be cocky or arrogant, but my thought is this: if they want a load on a particular, say if the load's scheduled to deliver on a Monday morning at 8 a.m. If they wanted it at 8 a.m., they're really going to want it when you get there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There are rules in place to make trucking safer, because for years freight brokers and dispatchers, they get paid commission on the amount of freight that you haul as a driver. So the more freight that they push, the more freight that you deliver. If you can get 6 loads in a week instead of 5 instead of 4, that makes their paycheck bigger. It makes yours bigger also. but not, I mean, you know, they don't get no 40-some cents a mile. They get a particular percentage of whatever that load pays. So their livelihood depends on them forcing you to get as much done as possible. And things like, well, I'm out of hours, they don't want to hear it. Never have back in the days of paper logs, and they don't want to now with e-log. The only difference is with e-logs, you can manipulate some things on e-log, not very many. But you better believe anything that can be manipulated, they expect you to. And then you get some companies, I'm not naming names, you get some companies that just don't want the e-logs in their trucks, and they seem to be under the impression, those certain companies, that if you just tell the DOT the e-log isn't working, they'll just go, okay. That's not how that works either. The law says if your e-log quits working while you're out on the road, you are allowed to finish the run you're on. And then they are to bring you directly back to the terminal or to some place where they can get the e-log problem resolved. Now, we are required, drivers, truckers, we are required to keep paper logs with us in case the e-log quits working. But the idea is if it quits working, they need to get it back online ASAP. But the main problem is there's certain companies that seem to think that if the e-log quits working, they'll just tell the DOT they can't get it to work, and then therefore they'll be allowed to go back to paper. No. And they don't do it. You might want to put your four-ways on, you're barely moving. Just come off that ramp. Watch how fast I pass him. I'm doing 70. Speed limit 70 miles an hour. I mean, he is probably doing about 40. Someone who's not paying attention will rear-ending them before they figure out how quick they're gaining on them. But anyhow, yeah, it's... And the whole thing with the e-logs is the government, they don't know how to fix things. It's down to it. They don't know how to fix things. The only thing the government knows how to do is control it. Years ago, back in the days of Prohibition, back in the 20s, the people like to drink. And when Prohibition came, then what was happening was people who had money were buying trucks, which back then trucks were just a single axle, basically like a pickup truck but a little bit bigger. And they were sending their trucks up to Canada to get liquor up there and bring it back into the country illegally. The revenue people came by, they'd find it, and then they'd take access to the casks, I believe C-A-S-K-S. They would, small little barrels, and they would take access to them and let the liquor spill everywhere. But it wasn't about, you know, the moral issues or even health issues of drinking or even safety issues of drinking. It was about money. It's about taxes. Taxes by the liquor being brought into this country illegally, taxes obviously weren't being paid on it. And that's what it comes down to, taxes. Couldn't bring it in legally because the entire country was under prohibition. But every time the government's ever tried to do something, it always comes down to control. So what's been happening over several years now, it's been happening for a long time, but here in probably the last 5 to 10 years has been the worst it's ever been in this country. Drivers falling asleep behind the wheel, truckers falling asleep behind the wheel, killing people, killing themselves, killing people in the cars around them. Maybe not quite the point of sleep at the wheel, but so drowsy that there'd be a police car on the side of the road issuing someone a citation, and those blue flashing lights, they kind of get to where they're entranced by them, and they don't realize it, but they're aiming right for the patrol car. And by the time they do realize it, it's usually too late to try to make some maneuver to avoid it, and would end up injuring or killing the officer or the party there receiving a citation. And all this because of dispatchers and freight brokers push to get more freight delivered. It's always greed. It's out there, good old-fashioned American greed. About the money. Drivers don't do it so they can make better money. Maybe some do, but most don't. Most of us, I don't, like me, I don't care about them. I need money like anybody else to pay my bills. But I'm not going to risk my life for somebody else's just so I can get a little bit extra every week. You know? But the law said 70 hours. That's how much time you are allowed to work, whether it be on-duty driving or on-duty not driving. A total of 70 hours in 8 days. And then you had to take a day and a half, basically 34 hours. You had to take 34 hours off before you could work again. And I'm not gonna, excuse me, I'm not gonna lie, I've done my share of outlaw trucking back in the day, and running without your logbook being current, and falsifying your log entries and whatever else just to try to get a little bit better production. To help make that freight broker and that dispatcher their commission. But the government, what their plan is right now, it's not working. Because companies are finding ways to get around of it. The last I heard is a lot of your smaller companies are trying to band together because they don't, like the bigger companies, they keep their trucks moving. You'll pick your trailer up, go drop it somewhere, and at that same location, or maybe somewhere near that same location, bobtail, pick up another one, and go back rolling again. If you're about to run out of hours, of course you gotta let your dispatcher know that. They find another driver heading towards you from the opposite direction, and they repower the load. That's where both of y'all meet up at a truck stop somewhere and swap the trailers. Now you're about to run out of hours, his load wasn't as critical, you've got time to get that one delivered. Meanwhile, he has all kinds of time. He just came on duty an hour ago, so he has 10 hours remaining. Go ahead and truck your load and get it where it needs to be on time, whereas you'd have been late because of having to stop and take your required break. Well, small companies can't do that. And so the smaller companies are trying to fight the e-log rules to be able to go back to paper. It ain't gonna happen. It's, you know, in other words, it's okay if some folks kill innocent people on the road as long as they're working for a small company. No, it ain't gonna happen. But the problem still is the whole e-log issue is about control. That's all it is. It's not fixing anything. People are still finding ways around it and using those ways, manipulating them they can to be able to get more work day than what they're legally allowed. The thing is if you want, it's the same thing with children. You got kids and you tell your kid, if you're going to do this, I'm going to ground you. If you're going to do, you know, you do whatever you can to control them instead of giving them the option to choose right over wrong on their own. But, you know, that's different. All you got to do is tell it. I've been married before, and my ex had 2 kids. And I would tell them when they would do something that, okay, whatever it was, I didn't see that coming. So this is your freebie. I'm not going to punish, well, unless it was something really severe. I'm not going to punish you right now. But just so we're clear, the next time you do it, the punishment is going to be this and this. Whatever that would be. Now later, especially, one was a teenager and one was a tyke. The teenager would sure enough put you to the test to where you'd come back and then you'd go ahead and pronounce the punishment, whatever it was you said you're going to last time. And every time she, that's not fair. How is it not fair? I told you this is what's going to happen. You did it anyway. Apparently thinking that I wasn't going to do any such thing. So the government needs to have a reason to give drivers the ability to make their own choice of whether or not to drive legal. And it's real simple. What's the one thing that's making everything move out here? Money, right? The trucking companies force drivers to break the law. They, well, if you don't like it, then bring the truck back in, I'll find somebody else. Now, some of them are just calling your bluff. The last thing they want is for you to actually bring the truck in and quit. But they also know most people have bills to pay and are hungry, and so therefore, when I'm not driving like a wild man, the lane switch right there, 2 different levels. They know you got bills to pay, they know you need the job, so they figure you're just going to go ahead and do what they say and make them their money. But it's as simple as taking away the one thing everybody's out here working for: money. Now, if you park your car illegally, there's a sign that says no parking here at the corner, and you're parked in the red zone. And the fine for doing so is 20 bucks. Chances are it's something you're going to do frequently, because if you get a parking ticket, it doesn't cost much more than what it costs to park in one of those self-park garages for the day, which is usually 15 bucks. So for an extra 5, you get to park closer to the parking lot, and someone puts a little piece of paper on your window that you just put into the mail. You don't even have to go down there. So why not, right? Of course, now, if you knew your car was going to get towed for being parked there, and it's going to cost you $300 for the record bill, plus an additional $200 for the ticket, for the fine of being parked there illegally, you would have, not only would you not park there on a regular basis, you'd never park there again. And it's the same thing. More truckers would have backbone and start telling, I have no idea what all those flashing lights are up there. Pickup truck or whatever it is. More truckers would stand up to the people who are pushing them, their dispatchers, the company owners, freight brokers. They say, no, I ain't doing it. If you want, fire me, I'll bring your truck back, you go put somebody else in it to do it, but I ain't doing that, I'm out of hours. And but that's not enough. Charge drivers a fine of $1,000. Anything. See, like for right now, I drive with a CDL driver's license, as is required to operate a commercial motor vehicle. But the law states that if I'm in my personal vehicle, I am bound by the same laws as if I was driving a big rig. For example, now I'm starting to get in people's way in this lane. Everybody was slowing down. The legal limit where you can have been out drinking, blow into the breathalyzer if they have one of the roadside stops set up. And if you're 0.07 or less, you're legal. I don't know which side 0.08 is on. If it's 0.08 or more and you're drunk, or if it's more than 0.08, in other words, 0.08 being sober. So, but for the sake of argument, we'll call 0.08 no man's land. So 0.07, you're legal on an automobile Class D driver's license. So I'm in my car, and I've got a CDL, but I'm in my personal vehicle. I'm on my way home from the pub. I've just had 2 beers, and I get stopped at one of those sobriety checkpoints, and I blow a 0.05. And you would say, well, that's good. That's still legal. It would be if I had a Class D automobile operator's license, but I have a CDL, and the legal limit for truckers is 0.04, whether they're in the big truck or not. You can go to a restaurant in a big truck, have a beer with your dinner, and as long as, if you get stopped and then have to blow a breathalyzer, as long as you're under 0.04, you're legal. You've been drinking? Yep. Oh, well, I'm going to have to put a breathalyzer on you. Okay. I only had 1 beer. Go ahead. But if you go more than 0.04, even in your personal vehicle, even though everybody else in that same vehicle gets 0.08, at 0.05, I'd be getting a DUI. Crazy, but that's the way it works. But that in itself gives me the reason to say, well, I just won't drink and drive. Problem solved. But see, when it comes down to the logbook issue, that part where you sign it at the end of the day, it says, I testify that all these entries are true and correct. By signing that, you're lying. If you've been fudging, altering, manipulating the logbook in any way other than logging it as it happens, if it took you 5 hours and you logged it only took you 3 to drive somewhere, that's a falsification. It's illegal. And if after having logged that you sign your logbook as being true and correct, you're lying. But most people don't look at it like that, or if they do, it's like, well, it's just a little white lie. You know, the little white lie is just as bad as a big black lie. It's either the truth or it's not. And that's where things are now. People don't care whether it's the truth or not. All they care about is how much money they can make by the end of the week if they force their drivers to break the law. But what if the driver wasn't the only one to pay the fine? What if the smallest fine for anything involving a commercial vehicle was $1,000? You know, you see a lot of truckers that drive real fast and through cities, and they end up having to run these red light cameras, and a lot of the cities won't bother mailing out a ticket because, well, you know, it's hard, you can't stop a truck at a time. Well, that's true, but you can stop it more easily if you're not driving as fast. So $1,000 for speeding, and not just for 5 miles over, 2 miles over. You want to have tighter screws and everything else for trucking, give truckers, and I'm an experienced trucker of 35, 36 years out here. So, you know, you would think I would say, oh no, I'm against all. No, there needs to be rules. Life without rules would be complete chaos, utter chaos. And I do believe the rules for truckers should be stricter than the rules for non-commercial drivers. But they need to make sense, and the rules they have in place now don't make sense. But it's real simple. The smallest fine for anything involving a commercial vehicle, doing a Hollywood stop at a stop sign, whatever it is, one falsification on your log, doesn't matter, $1,000 to the driver. But $1,500 to the company that truck is owned by. Right on down to owner-operator. The owner-operator owns his own truck. Well, he gets a ticket for $1,000, and then the name, whatever, even if the name of his trucking company says the guy's name is Bob Jones. So Bob Jones, the driver, gets a ticket for $1,000. And then the company, Bob Jones Trucking, gets a ticket for $1,500. It cost that one person $2,500 for driving 5 over the limit. For doing a Hollywood stop at a stop sign, but whatever it is. But see, that would really have an impact, especially when these companies that have more than one truck, all it takes is 2 or 3 of your drivers every week screwing up. 4 of your drivers, that's $6,000. So the companies would start demanding that their drivers drive legal. They start demanding they take their time off 10 hours at the end of the month and get some rest. They'd start demanding that we need you to get the load there as quick as possible, but don't sacrifice safety to do that. And that's all they'd have to do. Make a nationwide fee, or fine, if you will, $1,000 to the driver, and, not and, or, $1,000 to the driver and $1,500 to the company, whose ever name it is on the door of that truck. First off, there'll be no more issues with all these different states begging the federal government for money. They'd start breaking it in, because there's always going to be people to push the limit. There's always going to be people to see just what they can and can't get away with. The budget, the federal budget, because some of that money will take place of money in the federal budget the federal government sends to the states for their highways and whatever else. Now that the states will be having this money raking in for a little while anyway, that would start to be less money that the Fed has to pay out, and therefore the federal budget start getting paid. And drivers would start obeying the law, not because they want to, but because they don't want to have to pay the fine. Neither does their employer, and so therefore the employer will demand them to start driving legal. But here's the problem. If that happens, drivers stop driving while they're drowsy, they stop pushing themselves beyond their physical capabilities when they're sleepy, the roads will become safer. They stop driving so carelessly, so recklessly. You don't see trucks, you won't see trucks tailgating anymore, trying to intimidate cars out of their way. They'll be driving slower when they come up on a stale green light, so that when it turns red, they'll be able to stop quickly. All kinds of things that will make the highway safer. Now, there's always going to be wrecks, and there's ways to use this same system in a smaller fee, say $300 or $500 to the automobile drivers, and automobile drivers will start behaving themselves too. But the problem is that the roads will start becoming safer. Well, Mike, wait a second. That's what we want, right? Well, yes. Except Pfizer Medical, AAA Motor Club, any record service, police department, fire department, ambulance service, lawyers and attorneys. You see billboards all over the country. You've been hit by a big truck wreck, we'll sue for you. But what happens if the trucking industry suddenly becomes so safe that there are no truck wrecks anymore? Those attorneys get a third of whatever they get as a settlement for their clients. They get a third of it. No, attorneys don't want to see safer highways. Safer highways to be state police officers, county sheriff's deputies all over the country being laid off. Maybe even some city cops. Like I said, Pfizer Medical. Folks will be thinking, what's Pfizer Medical got to do with trucking? Nothing. But if trucking causes so many wrecks, which it does, I won't say the majority. I still believe, I saw a poll somewhere, one of the trucking magazines, but of course you only know what's being told, you don't know how truthful it is, that the amount of truck wrecks compared to the amount of car wrecks is still just a drop in the bucket. There's so many car wrecks every day. But the thing is, every year there's more and more trucks getting on the road because of America. We're a nation of consumers. And as long as people keep on buying, using, and throwing away things and replacing them, there will always be a need for trucks and truckers, and that's why the highways are so crowded with trucks anymore the way it is. So anyhow, those wrecks send people to the emergency room. And this is where Pfizer Medical and your other pharmaceutical companies come in. Insurance companies. There is so many different industries that have their hand in the till, so to speak, that are making money off of the misfortune of others who have been involved in an automobile accident. And all those different businesses do not want to see safer highways. Because some of them, a safer highway, safer roads, will actually put some companies out of business. Little small tow truck companies in a small, sleepy little town alongside of an interstate somewhere. There's not a whole lot going on in town to make for a steady income, but thanks to people being in a hurry on the interstate, that's how those companies make their bread and butter. But if the roads start getting safer, small companies like that, they just have to close their doors. And that's why I think the term is collateral damage is when, let's say, the military, I can't get over, there's a car beside me. I don't like staying in the inside lane when technically the outside lane. I don't like staying in the outside lane when there's somebody on the side of the road. I like that guy's got a reflective vest on, he's smart. When the military gets ready to engage somewhere, and let's say there is a city that has been determined we need to take action and reciprocate against. But let's say there's a certain amount of American citizens in that city, and they're going to tear apart, they're going to bomb some building. And unfortunately, 2,000 Americans, if they do so, will lose their lives. They don't say, oh, we can't go out and kill 2,000 of our own. No. They stop to weigh out whether or not that's an acceptable average. Messed up, but true. They stop to determine whether or not 2,000 people is just, if it's worth it for the cause. There's somebody else who's going to go ahead back home to his wife and kids tonight is going to make a decision whether or not you on vacation in this other country get to come back home to yours. How messed up is that? But that's how it works. Maybe it's not collateral damage, but I think that's what it's called, collateral damage. Well, it's kind of similar in this situation with trucking and trucking safety and making the highway safer. They don't want to make the highways safe. They just want to make them safer. Now, I travel all 48 states and on occasionally Canada. And a lot of places I go to, they'll have those signs that are up and over the interstate to let you know if there's bad weather ahead or if there's an accident or whatever else. Well, when there's nothing else going on, they will put in their 648 lives lost last year, buckle up, something like that. And I can't say most states, but, and I don't know if I even want to use the word many, but a good handful of states that I've been through on a regular basis, year after year after year, the ballpark number is between 750 and 900. 750 to 900 people lose their lives in the state of Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, and it fluctuates in that area, but every year each of those states loses that same amount of people, ballpark figure. So what if instead of 750 on the low side, you can bring it down to 500? And what if instead of 900 on the high side, you can bring it down to 700? Well, that's not so bad then. And that's the way the government's looking at it. But that doesn't make safe highways, because there's still 500 to 700 people every year losing their lives in each of those states. That's not acceptable. But they don't want to make them safe, because if they do, all the money to be made on the misfortune of those people who have these traffic incidents, there's all that money to be made that won't be there to be made any longer, and then people will have to find some other means of raking in their income. I used to live in a little town of Corinth, Mississippi, C-O-R-I-N-T-H. And you know, anything that's since 2000, everything is available on the internet. You can find anything if you know what to look for. Central School Road. And the reason they call it Central is the county schools, Elkhorn Central High School and Elkhorn Central Elementary. Elkhorn is the county. Elkhorn County, Mississippi, the city of Corinth. Actually, I think when you get out there to Elkhorn Central, I think that's Farmington out there. But anyhow, it's right outside Corinth, Mississippi. And like most high schools, the high school students there drive their cars. And it's, I don't know, maybe 3 miles from the high school down Elkhorn Central Road to US Highway 72, which runs across the state between Memphis, Tennessee and Decatur, Alabama. Of course, it keeps on going all the way to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and then some. But just in that immediate area, it's running right where just south of the Tennessee state line in Mississippi is Highway 72. So what these kids do at lunchtime, or let's say they sneak out of class and, you know, play hooky, skip school, whatever, they get in their cars and they drive down to Highway 72 at the intersection of Elkhorn Central and School Road. And it's a 4-lane divided highway, just like an interstate. Big, wide, grassy area in between the eastbound lanes and westbound lanes. And for years, there was no traffic signal there. There is now, but there didn't used to be. And of course, like most kids, when they're in high school, they've just recently gotten their license. They're just learning how to drive, which means they haven't gotten real good at depth perception yet. I remember when I first started driving, how many times I was almost involved in a wreck for not being able to judge an oncoming car's speed and distance. So these kids would try to get across the highway where there was a parade, was the name of the parade, gas station, I guess it's probably called Parade Oil or something. It was a gas station slash convenience store that they'd go down there to get something to eat, probably knew whoever's at the cash register, get some cigarettes or who knows what. But not that ain't high school kids would ever be smoking, no, but just the same. They'd either get into a wreck crossing the highway on their way into the gas station, or they'd get into a wreck crossing the highway leaving the gas station heading back to the school. Now here's the really messed up part. It took the death of 11. Really? Are you? Oh man, people just amaze me. If that dude would have misjudged what he just did, his right rear corner of his car would have got caught in the left front corner of this truck, turned him sideways, and things would have got real ugly. That right there is the reason why I've decided to start doing these live streams of me driving. So that, God forbid, if there was to be a wreck, and all I can do is tell the cop my side of the story, the other guy, if he lives, will of course have something different to say. I can just let him go ahead and tell his lies, and then after that say, oh yeah, by the way, I've got video of it. But anyhow, the messed up part, it took the death of 11 children. Until you're 18, you're not an adult. So, teenagers, yes, but still children. It took the death of 11 children, and probably more than 11 different incidents, because you know some of them had their buddies with them, guys or girls, either way, that had someone riding with them. And it took 11 different traffic accidents at that intersection before someone finally said, you know, maybe we should put up a red light here. So you figure, okay, so they just come up with the cash and did that then, right? Nope. That's where the state sends some guy out in a minivan to pull up off the curb, over the curb into the grass, and just sit there on the side of the road and count the traffic. And how many near misses he might have got a chance to see while he was there, or whatever else, to determine how necessary it is because of the amount of cost involved in putting a red light there. took 11 car wrecks, fatalities. Again, I don't know how many deaths total, but 11 different accidents that had one or more fatalities in that accident before they finally went and decided to do that. Because nobody in the government was smart enough to say, hey, this is the first time it happened, or God forbid they didn't think it ever lead to anything the second time it happened, or God forbid the third time. Never thought, you know what? I see a pattern here. This is something these kids are going to be doing for years to come. We need to put a red, if they don't want to put a red light there, put a stop sign. Change the speed limit. It's not that far from the center of Corinth, from the center of town. Change the speed limit 45 mile an hour out the Central School Road, and then a good mile or two past it, so traffic coming from the other direction will have a reason to slow down before they ever get to it, and just put up a four-way stop right there. But no, we gotta wait, in my opinion, one death is sad in itself, but I can see how when that was built, probably wasn't that much traffic, because 72 originally used to be a 2-lane highway. The Central School Road was older than the 4-lane section of 72. But how did nobody not see that, think it through? 5 kids, 6 kids, 7 kids. How many wrecks have to take place there before they finally do something about it?
Keep left.
There's nothing more precious on this planet than human life. While on the subject of schools, I have been a school bus driver.
Keep left.
Cute story. I don't know which playlist it's in, honestly. I have probably my trucking playlist. But, oh,
Follow.
really? Didn't see that coming.
US 90 westbound towards Houston for 57 miles.
Me. But anyhow, I think it's titled A True Story from My Days as a School Bus Driver. Alright, this is the bridge at Lake Charles. And it's steep. But as far as transportation goes, probably the only people that make less money than a school bus driver are taxi cab drivers and pizza delivery kids. And I'm not entirely certain about taxi cab drivers because I've never driven a cab. I don't know how they get paid. But alright, now see this traffic, how thick it is here? It's 20 minutes till 5 Central Time. So it's not even 5 o'clock in the morning yet. It is 4:40. And I'm doing 35 in a 60. Well, it's about to drop to 50. So by the time I get to Beaumont, Texas, oh man. But I'm still ahead of schedule. According to GPS right now, it says I'm going to arrive at 20 to 7. That's good because I need to stop somewhere and play in my coloring book because the Texas way station is open. Anyhow, every time I climb this bridge with a heavy load, I start thinking about that childhood story with the train. The little engine that could. I think I can. But I do know for a fact, school bus drivers, they don't get paid a whole lot at all. And they're not just transporting human life, they're transporting the future. Because the generations to come are the future of this world. And they get paid very, very little. The rules to become a school bus driver in a lot of states are very, very lax. that baffles me, because I don't care what you're hauling in a big truck. People who haul chemicals, especially extremely volatile chemicals, dangerous chemicals, different kinds of gases, and I don't mean gasoline, I mean gases, you know, poisonous air. Those people get paid more in transportation than just about anybody. And rightly so, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking that. Rightly so, there's a lot of responsibility in that, because if there's a mishap involving a hazmat load, not only does the trucking company get sued, but so does the driver. Even if it wasn't his fault. Let's say he got ran off the road by another car, but he has no dash cam, so he has no way to prove that. And the guy in the other car says just the opposite, that the truck bounced off of him and then drove into the ditch. Before it's all said and done, unless a witness steps up to say they saw what happened, yeah, that driver is going to end up broke and all in all have a very bad life for a while. But even if there's, I don't know, I can't think what else would be more valuable as far as a driver's abilities and his safety record, that gases and hazardous materials, even the most extreme situation in those types of loads still doesn't have the value of just one child, much less 72 of them. $66 to $72 if they completely pack a bus, which they won't necessarily do that for the bus route, because the bus route will be high school kids and elementary kids both. But like when there's a field trip, oh yeah, 3 to a seat, they pack them in there. But even if that big old bus ran its entire route to pick up kids to school that morning, and instead of having the typical 30 or 45 or so, there was just one, there is still more precious cargo on that bus with just that one child than all the hazmat loads combined in this country. Because you can't put a price on human life to begin with, much less the life of a child being, like I said, the future of generations to come. But yet, like that, y'all remember Chattanooga a couple years back? I don't remember how many, it might be 5, 6 years by now, it's been a while. Guy was driving way too fast, lost it in a curve, wound up killing 5 of the kids that were on that. I mean, I don't know how many kids were injured, but 5 of the kids lost their lives. And the guy just wasn't mature enough. There's just there's not enough rules in place, because schools run on budgets. And if school bus drivers were to demand, and of course the drivers themselves can't do this, but if somebody somewhere said, we're going to start paying school bus drivers what they're worth, schools wouldn't be able to afford it. That's messed up. So meanwhile, they'll hire anybody. You can't get a job doing anything else in this country. Depending on what state you live in, you could still get a job driving a school bus. Now, it won't pay you much of nothing, but it's a job. At least puts a little bit of money in your pocket. Can you believe all this traffic? And it's not even 5 o'clock in the morning yet. Wow. An hour ago, there was next to nothing out here. somebody higher up will make his living, earn his income, deciding what's best for everybody else, deciding who lives and who dies, so to speak. I've seen so much stuff out here on the road between driving big trucks and I got off the road for a little while. I was driving wreckers, driving tow trucks. Some of the things I've seen, things I wish I didn't see, I'll tell you that. People getting stupid. That's not to say I have not been stupid myself. I've had my share of stupidity too. But the idea is you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to, every day, make an effort to become a better driver, whether you're a professional driver or a leisure driver. You're supposed to be more skillful at whatever type of vehicle you're operating than you were the last time you were operating it. We get so busy with our music and our phone calls and texting and just distracted with all the thoughts about what's going on. And, oh my, I'm going to be late for my doctor's appointment. Well, then reschedule. No, instead we just drive like an idiot. If I drive like an idiot, I can still get there on time. There's no cause for that. But that's the mentality of people nowadays. Because nobody thinks to themselves, before this day is over with, I'm going to be involved in someone losing their life. Now that sounds like a pretty bold statement, because nobody thinks that. And I suppose that's true, a bold statement. But it's also a true statement. I have lost count how many fatality wrecks that I went to as a tow truck driver. And people always follow you back. I've never done a fatality where I didn't have at least one car. One time as a parade, there were like 4 or 5 of them. All gonna pull up and follow me to the record yard, pull up, get out of their car, take pictures of this, and ask me, so did the person in that car die? One time it was a BMW. This was also in Corinth, Mississippi. I drove record in Memphis, Nashville, and Corinth. The BMW had somehow gotten turned around. So when she got off the road, before she made impact with the utility pole, she was headed west when she got off the road, but by the time she made impact with the utility pole, she was facing east. What that tells you is, and the car was wrapped around the pole. Literal, like you see every now and then a car be at a fire department all bent in half like that. The left side of the car, because she's facing east now, is wrapped around the utility pole. For those of you who don't know left from right, that's your driver's side of the car. And hey there, Mike, I can't see what you're writing because I'm driving, and I don't have time to stop right now, so I'm not going to be able to make your 605 this morning, brother. But yeah, I only know it's you because I know your logo and those 3 words, chilling with Millen. You're one of my favorite channels, bro. So I knew that was you. It's pretty sad though, that the morbid curiosity. When you come up on a wreck, you're driving down the road and you come up on a wreck and everybody's hitting their brakes. they're not hitting their brakes to slow down to make the whole situation safer for the people working the wreck. They're hitting their brakes so they can turn their head, what we call rubbernecking, and look over there and see, did anybody die? Are there any body parts laying around the ground? It's morbid curiosity, I suppose. But I've never done a fatality where I brought the car back to the record yard to be held for the insurance company without at least one car pulling up behind me asking if they died. And every time I get mad, I'm trying to clean my language up. I guess it's another sign that I'm becoming more mature. But yeah, I'm a trucker, I've been a sailor. A little vulgarity, it's like saying the word "the." It's no big deal to me. So I let loose. I let them have it with both barrels, so to speak. And call them a few choice words and send them down the road. But it could change if instead of trying to control the situation, instead of just trying to bring the number down to an acceptable level. And I said, well, we've made the roads 20% safer. Well, how about making them 100% safer? Make it where you don't have to do anything, pass a rule stipulating what the nationwide federal fines will be for these traffic violations. And then let the drivers and the company owners make the roads safer, and the government can take all the credit. But anyhow, the powers that be, they know better than some dumb trucker. I've only been doing this 36 years. Ain't like I've learned anything during that time, I guess. I've worked at companies and I've done that. I've gone to companies and told them, hey, if you do like this, that, or the other, you realize the kind of money it'll save you? I worked for a company one time that had 87 trucks. Not a big company. A big company is 1,500 to 3,000 trucks. And if they got 3,000 trucks, they'll have anywhere between 5,000 and 7,000 trailers. That is a big company. 87 trucks, 200, 250 trailers, that still counts as a small company. Although they're decent size, but that still counts as a small company. The kind of place where they know you by your name, just to look you in the face, they know who you are, even if you're not around very often. Whereas the bigger company, you could be in there every week, and unless they see you face to face every single time, they won't know. All they know about you is your driver number such and such. But I went to the owner of that company, the small company I was at, when I bought my first truck. I leased it out there as an owner-operator. And I learned real quick just how much fuel these things burn. On average, they burn they get 5 miles a gallon. I'm not sure what that would, those of you in Canada and the UK, I'm not sure what that computes to. I do want to start making the effort to find out though when I start quoting things like that. So distances and measurements in both American and metric. But the average truck gets between 5 and 6 miles per gallon. That's it. No, that's not a lot. But believe it or not, that's considered acceptable. The first truck I ever bought, when I had purchased it, the guy told me, now you're not going to make a lot of money with this truck. I said, why is that? He said, man, that truck, the best we've ever gotten out of it is 4.5 miles per gallon, 4.5 miles a gallon on a good day. Which means they were regularly getting 3.5 to 4. And he he wasn't lying. Man, I got out there. What it was, it had a real low geared rear ends because it was originally a truck hauling logs. They tend to, log trucks tend to overload about the same way as coal trucks do. And so you need lower gears to be able to get that weight moving from a dead stop. Well, here I am driving down the road at 82 mile an hour in that truck, tachometer up at 1900 RPMs, and just booking. Past everything but truck stop. So I started to realize there's some things you can do, and this works in your car too, but in your car, you have to really keep record for a longer term, because cars don't get very bad mileage to begin with. But you can still get better mileage by doing these things. The other thing, and the reason why the results won't seem so impressive, is most people don't put the miles on the car that are put on these things here. These trucks go between 120 and 150,000 miles a year. Most people do 10,000 miles a year max on their car, unless they actually use their car for business. Driving to and from work and occasional vacation once a year, 10 to 12,000, 1,000 miles a month, 800 to 1,000 miles a month. One is to reduce idling. These larger diesel engines, 450, 4.25, 500 horsepower, 550s. Believe it or not, there are a couple out here that have 600 horsepower. They burn a ballpark figure of 1.1 gallons per hour. You got a big 600 horse Cummins, and you leave it in idle with the higher RPMs bumped up a little bit, I guarantee you, you're going to be burning more than 1.1 gallons. So you figure if a gallon of diesel is $3, you burn 1 gallon, 1.0 gallons an hour idling. The law requires you to take a 10-minute break. Hi, Gemma. The law requires you to take a 10-hour break. So $3 a gallon, 1 gallon an hour, 10 hours, $30. Oh, them lights are bright. Wow. $30 to keep the engine running, so you can keep warm in the winter or cool in the summer, because the heat and air conditioning won't work. But now they do have what's called an auxiliary power unit. Truckers, we refer to it as an APU. Small little one-cylinder diesel engine that hangs on the side of the frame back there behind the sleeper, and it'll run when the engine is shut off. The main engine shuts off. After about a minute or two, that one will kick in, and it'll handle your heating and air conditioning needs, as well as keeping your batteries charged. And that saves money. But those things aren't, they're like $7,000 or $8,000. Plus, they're heavy. I mean, it's not like super heavy, but yeah, they're, I don't know, 150, 200 pounds maybe. And that's extra weight back there on your drives. So there's that much more chance of becoming overloaded depending on what you load your truck with. But the thing of it is if you're running short runs, you're doing more idling. You're doing your 10 hours of idling every night while you're in the bunk. But then let's say you get loaded, you're all night waiting to deliver right there at your job site. Those folks come in, get you empty. You drive right there in the same town and pick up another load, and this is how you're starting your day. It's a 30, 45-minute drive. Maybe an hour. Rush hour traffic, so it's an hour. So you still have 10 hours of driving left for the day. You're allowed 11 every day. The problem is that load's only going 6 hours away. Plus the hour to get there, that's 7. So there's 4 more hours, which is an additional 12 bucks onto that 30. So that's 45. And that's how it works. The more idling you do all week long, the more money that has to replace that diesel that you've idled out. And so therefore that much less money that truck has made profit. Because your diesel that you're burning idling is still an operation cost. I told that man, I said, I've done figured out a way to save money starting with idling. Reduce your idling. Second way is reduce your speed. Most people tend to drive 5 over. Bring it back down to the speed limit. Hell, if everywhere you go, the speed limit is 70, set your cruise at 68. People behind you won't notice the difference. They'll just go right on around you because they're going to be going 5 miles faster than 70 anyway. One of the biggest consumption of fuel goes towards acceleration, especially with big trucks, because we're so heavy when we're loaded. The idea of 0 to 60, hell, 0 to 30. No. Like most people when they're younger, when I first started trucking, all I could think of was getting up to speed as quick as I can. Let the truck breathe. Don't stomp so far into the accelerator. Because in fact, vehicles like this with the Caterpillar engine, they, I'm in the wrong lane. Oh well. That scale's closed anyway. No biggie. Caterpillars, if you put your foot to the floor, you actually don't get as, unlike a gasoline engine, if you stomp on it, you get all the power that engine has to deliver. A diesel engine, and specifically a Caterpillar diesel engine, you actually get more power by backing your foot off the throttle a little bit. You get what's called the sweet spot. And the sweet spot is after you put your foot to the floor and you start bringing your foot back up off the throttle ever so gently, kind of a feather touch, if that makes sense. Until suddenly you notice that the truck starts accelerating all the stronger, or that much more strongly. That's the sweet spot. Now, if you keep backing it off, you'll lose that. But after years and years of driving, which it doesn't take years, but yeah, after a few months of driving, you finally get figured out. You can feel where it's at. The thing of it is, no two trucks are the same. It changes from truck to truck, and it changes from load to load. Now, every now and then, we're going to fuzz out here for the next 20 minutes. I have 5 alarms set because I don't usually hear the first 3. I guess you hear it subconsciously, but I don't really come well aware of the fact it's time to get up until about 5:20. think to turn my alarms off before starting this video, so I'll just have to keep pausing to turn them off one at a time as they go off. So anyhow, the trick is to let the truck breathe. Don't get such a big hurry to go 0 to 60. I trained a guy one time. I was back there in the bunk and the light turned green and I'm back there, I'm rocking from the front of the bunk to the back of the bunk, literally smashing me up into the bulkhead. So I got up, I said, man, what are you doing? He said, well, man, I'm trying to get my speed up. I said, okay, but why? He said, well, man, I don't want to make all these other people mad at me. And I said, you don't even know them. Why do you care if they're mad at you? Welcome to Texas, y'all. 888 miles to New Mexico. Of course, I'm not going that far. Baytown's just this side of Houston. That's all the farther I'm going. But anyhow, I said, well, let me ask you a question. I said, how many cars were behind you at that red light back there? He said, 3. And I said, well, how many cars was to the left of you in the other lane? He said, I don't know, look like 10 or 11. And I said, what's that tell you? And of course, he's like, I said, when you're home in your car and you pull up to an empty flatbed, you can tell he's got no load. Whereas a van, an empty van looks just like a loaded van. You don't know the difference. But an empty flatbed, it's quite obvious. So I said, now you know that he's got no weight on him, but it still takes a little while because of the gear ratio of the rear ends and what have you. It's still going to take a little bit for him to get his speed up. So you pull up to a red light, he's in the right lane by himself. There's nobody else waiting on that light in the right lane except for that empty flatbed truck. And I said, then there's 8 to 10 cars in the left lane. Which lane are you going to get in? He said, oh, I'm going to get in that left lane. I said, why? He says, every one of us will get across that intersection before that flatbed does. I said, well, if you're smart enough to think of that, and obviously since everybody's lined up single file in the left lane, they're smart enough to think of that. Don't you think they're smart enough to think of that when you're in a big rig too? He's like, oh. And I said, now look, when I cut you loose, when I finally tell the company, you've got the information that you need to become a proficient driver. How you drive the truck they put you in between you and them, I don't care. But I was an owner-operator at the time. I'm a company driver now. I was an owner-operator at the time. That diesel that you're sucking up is mine. That's my money paying for that diesel, not the company's. And that truck that was only getting 4.5 on a good day, because I changed a few of these things and a couple more I'm about to share with y'all, I brought it from 4.5 to 5.9, 6.3, 6.7, and on one occasion I got up to 6.9, but I couldn't keep it. I was trying to get 7, I couldn't get 7. I was able to get 6.8 a few times, 6.7 and under on a regular basis, and they couldn't believe it. People I bought it from found out what kind of mileage I was getting. They couldn't believe it. Another thing you do is you need to get religion. No, I'm not going where you think. Jesus has nothing to do with fuel mileage, but the tire pressure does. You need to get religious about checking your tire pressures. I mean, you've got to get devout. And not just the truck tires either. Whether it's your truck or a signed truck, but you're always doing dropping hooks, you still need to check the tire pressure on the trailers. Because some of these people who are company drivers work for those bigger companies that actually pay out fuel bonuses. The better the mileage, the higher the fuel bonus. Imagine you're pushing a wheelbarrow that the tire isn't flat, but the tire is low. You got a big heavy load of rock or dirt or something in the wheelbarrow. It takes extra effort on your part to push that wheelbarrow. That would be the same thing as the engine having to put forth extra effort to push the truck. Either way, this comes down to fuel consumption. Burns off calories for you, burns off diesel for the truck. Now imagine that same wheelbarrow with that same tire that's not quite completely full of air, with that same heavy load of dirt or rock or whatever. So set it down, turn yourself around, and pick it up where you're dragging it behind you now. It's still going to be effort on your part to pull it, just like there was effort to push it. Which is the same thing as the truck having to put extra effort to pull that trailer if the tires on the trailer aren't up to their regulated tire pressure. So you keep your tires full of air. Reduce your idling, reduce your overall speed, top end speed, and reduce your speed during acceleration. Let it go farther to bring it up to speed. Let it take longer to bring it up to speed. Let the engine breathe. Don't work it so hard to bring it up to speed. And then another is climbing. I'm guilty of this still to this day, and I still keep trying to work it out. I'm bad about when you get up around the Smokies, or you get around the Rockies, or any place with steep grades. I'll set my cruise for as fast as it'll go, and then tap the clutch pedal to disengage the cruise and drive without it. And then like on I-40 in Tennessee, as you start heading up toward the Smokies, mile marker 293, when you're going east, there's a 5-mile grade. The grade is 5 miles long. And it takes a while with a loaded truck to climb that grade. So what I do, I can say if the truck is an 85 mile an hour truck or a 90 mile an hour truck, what I do is I've got my cruise set at 90 mile an hour. I drive without the cruise, and then when I have to start climbing, I'll drop gear and then hit the resume button on the cruise control. That'll help me pull the hill, help me keep my speed up while I'm trying to climb that hill. And then if I get to where I'm still losing my momentum, the hill gets steeper, I have to drop another gear, so I'll tap the clutch pedal to disengage the cruise, drop that next gear, and hit the resume button again. And I've been doing this so long, I'm like a well-oiled machine doing this now. So that I can get up that hill quicker. Because on a 70 mile an hour interstate, I don't like doing 30 and 35 miles an hour. It's just not safe. But for those 5 miles, all traffic, including automobiles, the speed limit is only 55 miles an hour. Now granted, 35 is still a good drop from 55, but that's still better than 35 and a 70. Also, all trucks are required to keep to the right lane, so everybody in the automobile just gets to the left lane because they understand the trucks are going to keep right because they're driving slow. That burns a lot of fuel as well. And lastly, if you own truck. Keep your oil changed at regular intervals. Oil, as it gets older, and I don't mean older like it's 5 years old or 15 years old. I mean older like it's been 3,000 miles and it's about worn out. Alright, Texas, the lights is flashing, I forget. Yeah, next right one flashing, okay, so they is open. The oil loses its viscosity, it doesn't lubricate as well. Because of that, the engine again has to work harder. Which also consumes fuel. Alright, so let's see what's going on here early enough in the morning that maybe they'll just weigh you and send you on your way. Slow to 5 miles per hour. What they're doing there, but he waved me on. I'll take it. Shelby. Whenever this truck slows down, she could be dead asleep. Whenever this truck slows down, she will perk up to see why. Every chance. Now, she's gotten used to the fact that when we're driving, it's like most dogs, she likes to stick her head out the window. She's gotten used to the fact that when we're driving, I don't open that window very often for her because it gets real windy in here. Plus, this truck is louder than the white one I was in, so they didn't even weigh me. I don't even know why they bothered opening if they're not going to weigh you. No problem. My weight's legal. That's not the point. But anyhow, every chance she gets, she wants to stick her head out the window. She just loves it. We got 2 dogs. The other dog at home, that's Buddy. Buddy, the wonder dog. Buddy don't ride real well. He gets motion sickness. Shelby, on the other hand, she loves riding. Making good time. I've got on the road after my little break. My ETA was at 6:43. I've gained 4 minutes in a 70-mile-an-hour truck doing the posted speed limit. I've gained 4 minutes. All right. However, it's just about 5:30. Things will be getting a little thick going through Beaumont. One more, and then that's done with. According to my little icon there's nobody here right now, but anybody so bored they decide to watch this later, my apologies. I get to Baytown. Baytown is closer to Houston than Beaumont is, but Beaumont is bigger than Baytown. Baytown is directly east of Houston. It'll take them 1 to 2 hours to unload me, depending on whether or not they're going to actually put them in the holes. These dock levelers are going to a warehouse, which of course has several dock doors for trailers to back up to. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll just unload these, stack them up, and then they'll, after they get the trucks unloaded, then they'll go work at putting them in the holes that they go to. Sometimes they'll have you get real close to the building, and the guy's there with the crane in the back of his truck unfolded, and take them off one at a time and put it from your trailer right over into the hole. And that takes a while. I actually kind of hope he does it that way, because if he does it that way, they'll have to find me something else. They've got a load in Deer Park, Texas, going up to El Dorado, Arkansas, which is just north of the Louisiana line, around Monroe, somewhere that way, Monroe, Louisiana. But the, actually I think it's a little bit further west of there. But the people I work for, they don't take such things into consideration. They just cut my throat, give me a load that I may or may not be able to make it on time, but then demand me to do it anyway. And then they'll get mad. You'll pick a load up that's got a crane appointment, and pick up these large fuel tanks. I call them beer kegs because a buddy of mine up in Canada, that's what he started calling them. So that's not a 10,000 gallon fuel tank, that's a 10,000 gallon beer keg. But the crane may be late, or maybe when they get there, like I had one a week or two ago, myself and the crane both had to wait because they didn't have the gravel laid for where the fuel tank was supposed to get set down. If they'd laid it in the mud, it would just start sinking. Next thing you know, your dispatcher's sweating you about, hey, are you empty yet? Why is it taking so long? Rah, 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 rah. They don't plan for things to go wrong, and then when things go wrong, they act like somehow you're purposely trying to ruin their day. I like the saying that life is what happens when you're making other plans. You know, we get up every morning, today I'm going to do this, today I'm going to accomplish this. Today I'm gonna go see so-and-so, whatever. And then life says, well, actually I was thinking about it going this way here. I was gonna have you do this instead. Life is what happens when you've made other plans. And trucking is a lot like that. I worked for a guy years ago that would have temper tantrums when things would go wrong. You've seen in the movies where someone will take with one arm and they'll clear off their desk and they get ready to throw the secretary up there and have their way with her. Just like that, but no secretary. Just having a temper tantrum. Desktop computer, all his paperwork, everything down to the floor. He's so mad. Throwing his desk chair, you know, one of them big heavy cushion chairs with the wheels, and it tilts back, and you know, whatever. I mean, it's just totally losing it. But I'm pretty sure that was due to the steroids he was taking. He was a bodybuilder. Of course, he'd swear up and down he wasn't taking steroids. Yeah, right, whatever. All the anger issues that steroids are known to produce. Oh yeah, he thinks. And all buff. He was so big that Jesse the Ventura and Arnold Schwarzenegger would have idolized this guy. His arms and his thighs were huge. Popeye the Sailor against this guy would have looked like olive oil. This guy's arms were so big it'd make Popeye the Sailor look like olive oil. Some people just don't know how to prepare for it. They expect everything to go right, and then when things go wrong, they lose their mind. Instead of planning for things to go wrong and then being pleasantly surprised when they don't. Maybe I can turn my windshield wiper. I can see, believe it or not. The camera can't see through the water there as well as I can. There we go, now y'all can see. I'd like to raise it a little bit so that it's above the line where the wiper doesn't wipe. But then it won't be resting on the dash, and that means it'll be wobbling more. These things, you know, your phone ain't real heavy, but it's heavy enough. And you get hard vibration, it'll pop loose from the glass sometimes. The suction cup thingy. It don't rain every day. But back to what I was telling my previous boss about all the things you can do to gain fuel mileage, because those are the things I was doing to go from 4 and 4.5 miles a gallon to 6.5, almost 7. There it is, last alarm. But he said, well, you know, he's Michael Kenny, that might work if you got one truck or 1,000 trucks. But a company like this, no, that don't mean nothing. Now you gotta understand, I ran my fuel mileage in that truck the same way you would in a car. I filled my fuel tanks. Did my first day's driving. Noted the miles when I stopped to fill again. Fueled them up, fueled and filled them up again. Figured out the mileage based on how many miles I had driven and how many gallons it took to fill it up the second time.
After 2 miles, keep left.
And that's how I came up with the miles per gallon. Well, he figured it out an entirely different way. What he was doing was figuring out how much money the truck made, but I have no control over that because I'm not the dispatcher. I'm not dispatching myself. I'm not brokering my own loads, so I have no control over how much money the truck makes. But I do have control over how much the truck spends. And I wasn't trying to do a revenue comparison. I was simply trying to come up with an accurate number for miles per gallon based on fuel used to drive those miles. But he was saying, well, the entire revenue of the truck is this much. This is how much money the fuel made this past week. And how much money the truck made this past week. Meanwhile, you spent this much money in fuel. Therefore, the truck is only getting 42% fuel mileage.
After 1/2 mile, keep left.
Based on the amount of revenue compared to the amount of fuel burned, thus the cost of the fuel, which is money taken from revenue. And it tells you how much of that revenue got spent on fuel. That's what they're coming up to. But that still doesn't give you an accurate miles per gallon. And again, I have no control over those costs. I have no control over where it gets spent. But I can control how much fuel that truck uses. I told him, I said, you can imagine out of 87 drivers, you can get half of them to get on board with the idea of trying to save money. How would you do that? Well, you offer a fuel bonus. No, I don't want to do all that.
After 2 miles, keep left.
They should be wanting to get better fuel mileage just so they can keep their jobs. But most drivers don't think about fuel mileage because it's an expense that they don't see. So what you do is quarterly, every 3 months, you figure out for the previous quarter the top 3 drivers as far as fuel consumption. The third best fuel usage, you hand them a $500 check. The guy that gets the second best fuel usage, you hand him a $1,000 check. And the guy that gets the best fuel usage, you hand him $1,500. Anytime it's a tie, you either say, well, this guy done it 2 months, two quarters in a row, you give him the $1,500, or you say, well, this guy did it last time, so this time let's give it to the other guy. Because they both did, you know. Either way is fair, but you can't swap back and forth. Whatever it is has to be chiseled in stone and to be that way all the time.
Keep left.
Oh, no, he wouldn't do all that. Now here's the kicker. If one vehicle, just one driver,
Follow Interstate 10 westbound towards Mont Bellevue for 51 miles.
if just one driver has a fuel improvement of 1 mile per gallon. 1 mile per gallon ain't no big deal. Well, at $2.10 a gallon, savings of 1 mile per gallon, doing 130,000 miles a year, equals $26,000 in savings. Do the math. If only one guy tries to do better, and you still give the top 3 drivers that bonus, that's $3,000. That still leaves you $23,000 in the bank that you otherwise would have been spending in diesel. He still wouldn't do it. To this day, he still doesn't do it. I mean, he'll notice certain people that do go out of their way to do better, and maybe he'll find, hey, here's a little something, or take them out to lunch or something, and that's good. But you know, nobody sits there all for the next 3 months hoping that at the end of the quarter the boss takes them out to lunch. He said the other thing is you've got no way to control, no way to know how many drivers are even going to take part in the program. Doesn't matter. Each driver that gains 1 mile per gallon, that's $26,000. it this way. Say if the driver was to gain 1 mile per gallon, I'm going to give every driver $1,000. That's it. There is no second place. There is no third place. If you gain 1 mile per gallon better fuel mileage, then your bonus will be $1,000 each quarter. That means every truck that gains a mile per gallon, he's going to cough up $4,000 a year to those drivers. But that still leaves them with $22,000. People who are spending your money, you need to invest in them. Sometimes it can't be helped, but every now and then in a big truck you'll be on a road that's crowned more than others, and because of such, as you go down the road, the trailer, especially if you're loaded heavy, the trailer will dogleg a little bit. And it's not that the trailer's bent, it's that the road is sloped. In like places like Pennsylvania where the lanes are real narrow, it's unavoidable. You're either going to have to swap paint with a car next to you, or God forbid there's a truck in the lane next to you, or you're going to have to let that tire rub against the curb. You try not to do that, because when you do that, it'll blister the rubber, and I guarantee you when you have a blowout, it's going to be right where that rubber is scuffed on that tire. Sidewalk. These tires nowadays cost $350 to $500 a piece, assuming they're not super singles. Super singles considerably more. What, I think about $750, something like that. Maybe $800. I don't know. I've never had to replace them. But the same thing. Tire wear. And find some way to make a program that will give drivers a bonus for not wearing out rubber. If they're already on the fuel program, they're checking their tire pressures anyway, just so they can keep the fuel bonus money. But what's going on over there with all them flashing lights? Wreck. No. Driver turned too quick, got stuck. There's so many people behind the wheel of these trucks that don't belong behind the wheel of these trucks. They've got no clue. They try to keep what their trainers teach them is called lane integrity, which is where you keep the tractor centered in between the two lines. I teach drivers, when you're going around a curve, if you're going around a curve to the right, depending on the sharpness of the curve and the length of your trailer, obviously, most curves on the interstate, you can keep it centered and the trailer will be centered too. But on a ramp, especially a cloverleaf type ramp, if the ramp curves to the right, then you want your left steer tire all the way over against that white line, or yellow line, whatever color the line is. You want it to the far left of the ramp. That way your trailer is in the center of the lane. I've seen trucks at the bottom of cliffs for the very same reason, because they had the truck in the center of the lane instead of the trailer. If the truck is in the center of the lane going around a hairpin turn, that means the trailer is going to be sticking off the side of the shoulder. The problem is, there is no shoulder. Unfortunately for them, there was no guardrail either. To this job, a lot. Two things y'all need to watch out for when you're driving down the road. One is a U-Haul or a Ryder or a Penske or any kind of easy haul, whatever, any kind of self-moving truck where people can go rent usually a pickup or a van or whatever, sometimes a big box truck with a roll-up door, you know, and do their own moving that way, save some money. Chances are they drive a Honda Civic on a regular basis and they're not used to driving whatever they're in now. So you really need to give them a wide berth, stay clear of them, because you never know if they're going to come over into your lane or whatever else, because they're not used to the dimensions of the vehicle that they're currently in. The other thing you need to watch out for is every time you see a truck with the word Swift on the side. A lot of truckers like to make fun of Swift, and so do I, but that's not what I'm doing here. My problem with Swift transportation, I saw a sign one day. I was on the I-65 in Indiana, northbound, and well, maybe I was on US 41. I don't. It's one of those two main arteries right there going up towards. You hit Lake Michigan and cross into Illinois. And the sign said that you can be a solo driver in as little as 2 weeks. No way. I don't care how intelligent you are. Some truckers are just flat stupid. And I don't mean to be name calling. They're just not real bright. And no way can you teach somebody, even if they're one of the smartest kids on the block, everything there is to know about trucking in 2 weeks. Because I've been doing it for 36 years and I'm still learning. I think that 2 weeks is a good amount of time to teach them what they need to know to pass their driver's test, the written part of their driver's test. But as far as the skills test, the driving and backing and cornering and maneuvering and parallel parking and all that other stuff, I think that any school, whether it be a company teaching their own drivers or an accredited school that's going to send drivers into an employment placement program afterwards, that it should be a minimum of 8 to 12 weeks. And 6 months as a team driver. And that should be required by law. Verifiable 8 to 12 weeks in an accredited driving school, and 6 months or more, 6 months to a year, honestly, running team. I like the idea of a year, because sometimes some of your best drivers still have bad habits. So if you have them do this for a year, either 4 drivers every year, by every 3 months run team with another driver, or 6 drivers in a year every 2 months changing up, running team with another driver, so that he's got more than one teacher, and one may or may not know how to explain something so that the driver, the new hire, can understand that maybe another one has just the right way of connecting with that person. But see, if we did this, it would make the highways of America safe. This should be the law, no matter where you go to get your driver's license, your CDL driver's license. They train their own drivers, fine, but still be 8 to 12 weeks of rigorous training, repetitive training, over and over and over until it's drilled into their skulls. And then still do 1 year of team driving before cutting them loose as a solo driver. And And this would protect their bottom line because they'd start having less accidents, less mishaps, less freight claims, damages, and whatever else. But because of good old-fashioned greed, they just want to get you in that truck so you can start hauling freight. These loads pay good money. Brokered freight doesn't pay as good. But if you got your own customers, you know, you hire out with a trucking company that they have customers in different places all over the country, the places where they tend to always go. So you have customer freight going out, and you have customer freight coming back. Oh yeah, pays real good. Instead of investing, I mean, you look at these newspapers all over the country. Every Sunday morning, especially in your bigger cities, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, full pages, top to bottom, left to right. All these different advertisements, people trying to woo in truck drivers. That doesn't even justifiably show the urgency. Drive past any trucking terminal. J&J is a good-sized company. They're not the biggest company around. Most people have never even heard of them. Company in Memphis. Nice, shiny, new blue trucks. White vans. They pull vans. They might pull, I think they pull a few flatbeds too, but they're mostly a van line. And at their Memphis terminal, there are hundreds of bobtail tractors just sitting there. Now they probably have the insurance set up in such a manner that they only insure a truck while a driver is in it. But the tags, fuel tax, what they call IFTA, their highway use tax, permits and registration, all that costs money annually. You can't just say, okay, I got a driver, so I need to get the tag renewed. Oh, 3 weeks later he quit. I'm not going to be driving that truck, so I need a reimbursement. Nope. So they have thousands of dollars sitting around their yard just in license plates, much less all the other stickers that go on to also show that they've met their federal requirements for fuel highway use taxes. But to me, that's all the more reason to spend the time to train somebody so that they'll be able to be proficient at their job and they'll actually know what they're doing, and therefore be less stressed, less likely to have both traffic incidents and damage claims, and therefore enjoy their job and stay longer. Oh, what was I thinking? That would make sense. Get them, man. I ain't gonna tell y'all how fast I'm driving. I will tell you that the speed limit speed that that dude is driving just now, passing me, there's a big difference between the two. I'm not saying I'm speeding. I'm not saying that I'm driving illegally. We're plain clothes in Baytown, 40 miles ahead. But if I was speeding, then that means that dude that passed me, and this one here also, is speeding considerably much more. This later, and for some reason decide I got nothing better to do with my day, I guess I'll go hang around, watch this guy drive through the darkness for 2 to 3 hours. The purpose of these videos, of course it's a live stream now, but once the live stream is over it just becomes a saved video. The purpose of these is I'm currently using my phone as a dash cam until I can afford to get an actual dash cam setup, because I don't want just the dash cam. I want the dash cam as well as a camera down each side, pointing rearward. So anybody bounces off my trailer, I've got video proof of how that happened too. To do such is probably anywhere between, I don't know, I'm just going to be conservative, say $300 and $600. It might be as much as $700, $800. I don't know. Don't get me wrong, it's worth it just to be able to avoid one lawsuit. But right now, I don't have $800 or $600 or $300. I can record this while I'm driving. I'm hands-free. The phone is in a little suction cup holder attached to the windshield. And I found out, like one day, twice actually, my battery died. Once at home and once out on the road. My battery died during one of my Sunday night live streams. Actually, I think it was 2 weekends in a row. And even though I wasn't able to press the little X buttons to finish this up, and then press the blue button to go ahead and upload it, it uploaded itself anyway. If you leave this live, there's no way to watch whatever's happening. Like, you can't tune in 5 minutes ago and scroll backward an hour ago to see what. Now you can scroll back in the text to see what messages have been coming up, but you won't be able to scroll back in the video. Your side of the line there, Bubba. Things like that. They're getting way too uncomfortably close to the zipper. If he'd have come across the line on me, be able to prove it was him coming down on me, not me going on him. But for now, the main thing is the people who get mad at you because you're slowing them down, you change lanes a half mile in front of them. But had you not done so, they'd have been able to continue moving down the road at 85 miles an hour. So now they've got no choice but to slow down till you pass whatever it is you're passing and move back over. And then when you do, they're so mad at you over the few seconds that you cost them, they're going to come around you, slide over real close in front of you as to be disrespectful in such a manner that using body language of the vehicle since you're not talking to each other. And then go ahead and slam on the brakes to cause you to have to panic brake. Someone done me that way the other day. I had all I could do to keep from hitting them. Because you better believe if I'd hit them, they'd have said that they would stop at the red light. They were still approaching the truck in front of them, then just slammed on the brakes. When they cut in front of me, they cut in front of me so close I couldn't even see the tail of the car. And that guy passed me on the right. I was in the left lane, getting ready to make the left turn at the light when I got to it. But before I could get to it, he come around me on the right because I saw him in my rear view mirror when I changed lanes. He was coming up on me fast, but he was every bit of a quarter or a half mile away. It just made him mad that I slowed him down, so therefore he's going to teach me a lesson. If I'd have clobbered him, it would have been my fault because I had no way to prove that it was a road rage incident caused by him. By putting this live stream out like this, I now can prove. All I have to do is cops get there, let it keep on recording live all the while until the cops get there, so I can verify the time. Otherwise it'll just say uploaded 20 minutes ago or something like that. It doesn't actually have the time. But I'll go ahead and put it up to be processed. It doesn't take that long. And then let them go ahead and view it, and they can determine based on the fact that scrolling backward from the I had just been watching process, they can obviously show that it was today's date at the time specified. And road rage in some states, you get caught doing something like that, you'll go to jail. That's why I'm doing this, so that if someone does that and I can't avoid them and hit them anyway, I can at least prove, one, that it wasn't my fault, two, that they were the ones that initiated it, and three, that it was road rage. And I was talking to my wife and I said, well, I'll just get out the truck and go up to the guy and start laughing. And when he's, I don't know what you think's so funny, I'm going to sue you for hitting me. And then tell him I've got him on camera. That's road rage, he's going to jail. And then bust up laughing some more. But instead, I've decided if such ever happens, I'll just shut my mouth. Let him cuss and rant and rave and make all his false accusations. Let him reinforce that so by the time the cops get there, he's got his story straight. And let him go ahead and lie his butt off to make me out to be the culprit. And then go ahead and tell the cops my side of it. Let them write me a ticket. Then fight that ticket in court under oath, where that guy not only will end up making a fool of himself, but perjuring himself in the process. 6, 7 people. I did one earlier, stopped for about 35, 45 minutes to take a nap. And there were, that first one, about 6, 7 people that come by. Of course, I can't hardly read the comments because I'm driving. I figured since some folks showed up and there was comments and conversation and, you know, whatever, I figured I'll just go ahead and leave it. But if I get where no one shows up to the live stream in a given particular episode, and nothing eventful happens that I feel needs to be shown to the public, then I'll probably just go ahead and delete it instead of posting it. Unless I feel the conversation I have with the camera will be of value to someone who might watch later. Although I don't anticipate there'll be too many people that are going to sit there and watch a 2, 3, 4 hour video of darkness. Of course, it won't always be darkness, it'll be daylight sometimes. But like I said, the main thing is to use this as a means of being able to protect myself if someone causes an accident and tries to make me out to be the one to blame. Alright, it is 6:05. It's time for time Central Time. Mike Millen, chilling with Millen. Finished up his live stream 5 minutes ago. He runs them from 6:05 to 7 a.m. Eastern time. It's Atlantic time. He does that because at 7 o'clock he's got to get ready to head out the door, catch the bus to go to work. In fact, he had popped into this one here toward the beginning. Trying to make his live streams really interesting. He does the horoscopes, just kind of entertainment. He's got the typical horoscope that most people will be reading in the morning paper, and I'm not sure where he's getting them at online, I'm sure, but he's got a horoscope that's geared towards people get right on this point on your tail, but you can't tell if you're clear of their nose with your tail to change lanes in front. So you don't want to catch the left front when you're right rear and cause them to spin out. About the time you look in your mirror, they'll go ahead and blind you with their high beams. By the way, if anybody makes it this far in to hear this conversation later, the proper way of flashing a truck over to let him know he's cleared your nose is to dim your headlights. Turn the headlights off, leaving your parking lights on. Count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, turn them back on, then do that again. I turn them off, leave them off for about 5 seconds or so, 5 or 6 seconds. And then turn it back on. I used to do the other, and even the button that would let you do that, which was the headlight interrupt button. Press it down. As long as you hold it, they're off. And the minute you let go, it'll spring back up and they're on. That way you don't have to actually manually turn them on and off with an off switch. But that was called flash to pass. The problem with that is it's illegal to flash your headlights. A lot of people will do that when there's a patrol car sitting in the middle somewhere. They'll turn the headlights on and off 3 or 4 times to warn you to slow down. But like I said, it's always been illegal. As long back as I can remember, it's always, as long since I've been started driving. I started driving in 1979. It's always been illegal. Unfortunately for this one old boy, the car that he was flashing to tell that driver that, hey man, there's right around this bend, there's a police car with a radar. The car he was flashing was another police car. I've gained 7 minutes. When I started driving, it said my arrival time would be 6:43. It now says 6:36. If I can gain just 3 more minutes, that'll make a 10-minute improvement. In fact, I'm doing less than the speed limit. The speed limit is 75. I'm going 70. Destination 20-25 minutes or so before dispatch gets into the office. All these trucks, and I say these trucks, I mean the ones here by this company I'm employed with, have a satellite beacon on them. They can, they'll know where you're at, what your coordinates are, which direction you're traveling, if you're in motion or not. If you are in motion, it lets them know what your current speed is. If you're not in motion, it just gives them a location, I suppose. But I've seen on one of their computers, the only way I can describe this is like Google Earth on steroids. Like the military version of Google Earth, much more detailed than regular version. Except whatever this was, it was Verizon. And I'm not sure. I'm thinking that Verizon program they're running lets them see what they're wanting to look at live. They can pick any truck in the fleet. The beacon will activate and let them know all the information that's been programmed to put out. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I think it is. I think it's live. I'm not one for snooping around. I go to the office, drop my paperwork off. A lot of times I get there, they give me a load on a Friday, then I don't get back with it until Saturday. It delivers Monday, but meanwhile I got paperwork for everything else I did that week. I do all my paperwork, fill out the envelope, all the necessary information required to be put on it. Put it on her desk. I'm not nosy by no means, but apparently her computer is set to not have a screensaver. The screen's always on every time I go in there. And most times that's what it's got on that Verizon, whatever that program's called, I don't even know. Earth, kind of like Google Earth, but not. I don't care because I don't lie about where I'm at anyway. They'll ask where you're at, you tell them. You know, if I should have been farther ahead than where I'm at, I still just tell them where I'm at. I learned years ago when I was running deliveries, not lie about where you're at, because back then we had pagers. Cell phones weren't invented yet.
After 2 miles, take the exit right, Interstate 10 East, towards Montview.
If your pager went off, you had to get to the nearest payphone and call in. Say, where are you at? And I'd tell him. If I felt I should be farther than where I am, and he's probably expecting me to say thus and thus, I'll get that, whatever you got next, get that delivered, and I got something else for you. But in fact, I still had another delivery to do prior to that one. But it would have lied about where I was at. Now I've got to explain to him how there's a wreck at 95th and Cicero.
After 1/2 mile, take the exit right, 798, Interstate 10 East, towards Mont Belvieu.
Now I'm heading southbound.
Take the exit right, 798.
And had told him that I was on I-57 south of I-80 when in fact I'm on 294 and 95th Street heading towards my delivery at 95th and Cicero, but there's a wreck there and I can't get to the other side of without diverting. And he has, now I have to explain to him how it is a wreck at 95th and Cicero is holding me up when I was already 2 deliveries made and farther south than where I really am. I learned that doesn't work.
After 1/2 mile, turn left, Highway 146, towards Baytown.
So I just tell them where I'm at. If it's not where I'm supposed to be, oh well. They want to know why, tell them why. Hey man, I got tired, I didn't sleep well last night, I pulled over to take a nap. And oh, they lose their mind when you tell them that too. You pull over, take a nap. And then I'll tell them, well, you know what? Your load wasn't going to get delivered any quicker laying upside down in a ditch. Then they calm down some. Not a lot, but some.
Turn
17
left,
feet
Highway
forward.
146, towards Baytown.
Traffic right here. This is nothing. It's right now 25 after 6. Can you imagine what it's going to be like an hour from now? Morning rush hour in your bigger cities lasts until anywhere from 9 to 10 o'clock. I'll get there at 6:35. That's all the time I'll be able to gain. 2 more minutes, I'll make pick up 10 minutes on this trip. That'll give me an hour and a half. Take me a nap unless he decides get up in there and unload me a little early. It does happen sometimes, but not always. The reason I'm driving down this road in the left lane instead of the right lane is here in a mile, a little more than a mile and a half, 1 3/4 miles, I need to make a left turn. what it is. I'm going to be loading in Deer Park. Another minute. 6:34. Even though the trucks were down below the speed limit of Texas, I've still gained 9 minutes on this section of this leg of the trip.
Turn left, FM 1405.
Man, look at all this traffic. Church just get out or something? Load was a little lighter. That one gap I could have made, but as heavy as I am, it would take a little while. I didn't want to try to get in front of traffic like this. I could have made this if it weren't for that guy pulling out. Most people would have been like, screw him, and done it anyway, but I'm not that kind of driver. I think the light by now. Made that one too if it wasn't so heavy. I don't like taking chances when it's dry out. I sure don't want to take chances in the rain.
Follow FM 1405 for 4.5 miles.
by my address. Since there happens to be available truck parking, make use of it. Take Miss Shelby out for a walk. Pretty sure I can handle being parked right here where I'm at, and I don't think anyone's gonna be doing any brake checks in front of me. So I guess I will go ahead and close this down for now. And we'll start it up again when I get heading to my next load. Anyhow, it's been almost 3 hours. If any of y'all are so bored that you end up watching this all the way through, and right now nobody's here, but the idea being someone come on this later, you might want to find you a hobby. If I'm the hobby, okay, that's cool. That'll work. So, anyhow, y'all have a really good day. You only got one life to live. Get out there and live it. It says merely exist is not enough. Live it with gusto. So, that being said, time, turn this around this way so you can see the starry view. Y'all have a real good day, and be good to each other. Don't hurt to be nice. You never know, it might come back to you. I believe that too. If you're mean to people, mean things or hateful things come back to you. If you're nice to people, nice things come back to you. Within reason. Not always. More often than not, that's the law of averages, and that makes it okay. Take care. We'll see you when I see you. Thanks for coming.